Hey, my name's Anthony.
My name's Alex.
And we are
The PTA Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the PTA Podcast. As always, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. We really appreciate the support. What's cracking, mate?
What's going on, brother?
You good?
Always.
That's the way. Alrighty. We're going to keep this strictly 7 minutes. We got the clock, 7 minutes max. We're going to talk about the footy. Alright?
Alrighty.
Give me your ups and downs of the round. It was a bit of a boring round because not many teams played. It was a
Oh,
bye
mate,
round.
long live Leica, brother. What do you mean it was a boring round?
It was a boring round.
Final game at Leica for the next 18 months while I
All
go
I
to the
loved was,
renovation.
that was a good
It
game.
was great.
Luai was that last try he scored. Yeah, no, he didn't just do. He said a few other things, but it was good to see that the Tigers get up. But
That was
mate,
good, but mate, at the detriment of losing another one of our main players. Like,
I know, but like Gold Coast were like right in it, man.
yeah, 100%.
They're a very good team, eh? And
Yeah,
I'm
bro, they're very underrated.
I'm really liking that fullback.
They're very underrated. Josh Hannay has done really well.
I
with,
like that fullback. I don't know his
Kinney,
name, but
Keanu
Jesus,
Kinney. He's a beast.
Even last week.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a New Zealand fullback.
Okay, well he saved the game for them against.
He won the game for them against the Broncos.
That was it, but he saved the game from as well against Broncos.
Yeah, badly.
which
He's good.
was
He's
great
very
to
very
watch.
good.
Yeah, it was very
But
good.
no, they're a team on the up. Anyone that thinks otherwise is stupid. Like you got Manly, who are at the peak of their season at the moment, running. I think they're running third. Either same points as the Warriors or 2 points behind the Warriors, in third place, and they only just beat the Titans by 2 points.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Titans
And
are-
Manly had a full side.
Titans are the team there. They kind of
You know what I
they
mean?
can do damage. They probably just don't get over those little tight
That's what it
games.
is. That's what it is. But in saying that, they've got a new dummy half. They've got a young new halfback.
Quite inexperienced.
They
team
finally
over-
settled in on
across
their
the
halves.
board.
They had,
Yeah.
I think, between the last 2 years and including half of the season so far this year, they've had like maybe 5 or 6 different halves pairings. You know what I mean? So
It's hard to build any kind of
yeah,
consistency around
they
that.
finally
Yeah.
settled on their halves. They've got their fullback. They've got their dummy half now.
They have a decent forward pack.
Yeah, their forward pack's great. Yeah, and they were missing Tino as well. Who was in Origin camp.
Yeah. Do you
so-
know his dad died?
Yeah, I know, poor
Yeah,
bloke, him and
quite
Isaac. God bless his soul. But yeah,
Right,
man.
So your highlight was the Tigers game.
Yeah, highlight was, it wasn't so much the win, it was just the fact that it was the last game at Leica for 18 months.
My highlight was the Dolphins doing a number on the Roosters.
Yeah, that was...
Like, people are saying Roosters had a lot of players out because of Origin, but so did Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins got
Right?
6
It
players
wasn't
out.
like Roosters that didn't have any experience in certain positions.
Yeah.
They still had quite experienced players playing.
They had Cherry Evans there. They had...
They
they
had good players playing.
Yeah,
Just
they had
didn't have
Connor
the
Watson
usual
there.
forwards. Didn't have the usual forwards. That's all.
Yeah. No, they still had a decent side on the
I
field,
think it was
though.
one forward was missing.
Lindsay Collins and Victor Radley.
Two, yeah. Well, they're the two starters. Yeah, but anyway, compared to the Dolphins, like, mate, I was expecting a bit of a closer game.
Yeah.
To be honest.
100%. Like, again, because that's the thing. Dolphins were missing 6 players as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to Origin. So, like... 5 to Origin, 1 of them injured. So, 6 players in total.
But
and
they
you're talking...
they put a show on them.
Mate, Isaiah Katoa.
Great halfback.
Mate, New South Wales are blessed to have him as the next halfback to come in after Nathan Cleary because he...
No, look, I don't think they'll give it to him. I think they'll still give it to what's his name, Mitchell Moses.
No way. Katoa shits on Moses.
I know, but I think they'll still give it to Moses because
If they do, they're stupid.
Every single time there's been an opportunity to have somebody else pair with Cleary, who have they picked? Mitchell Moses. Even though Katoa's been in better form,
You know what?
they should have picked. Imagine Katoa
The
and Cleary together.
the only way that New South Wales will have the players that should be there
Change the coach.
is the moment Ivan Cleary steps up as New South Wales coach.
You reckon he will?
I'm telling you, 100% he will. And I'm telling you, New South Wales will go on a dynasty. Just like Queensland did. Imagine this. Imagine you're Ivan Cleary. You've gone from being pretty much, in my opinion,
the best coach.
the best coach that the NRL era has seen. Like, no one's done what he did.
Yeah, for a very
Right?
long time.
No one's done what... Not even Wayne Bennett did what he did.
Yeah.
Right? You can't tell me that you've gone... In 7 years, you've won 4 grand finals.
And beating 5 of them or something. Right?
Been in 5 of them and
Yeah.
made finals 6 years. And not even Melbourne did that at their peak.
Yeah, it's true.
4 grand finals in a row.
Melbourne did really well, but they cheated it to do that.
Well, yeah. So if Ivan Cleary goes from that to then New South Wales coach and then takes New South Wales to a new level.
Yeah, but you also got to understand, Alex, that pressure is going to be huge.
Yeah, but it's Ivan Cleary we're talking about.
Yeah, I know, but like
bro.
at the end of the day, Alex, when it comes to Origin, we've said this before, you don't really have to coach these guys.
That's what I mean.
These are the best that New South Wales and Queensland has to offer.
But this is what I mean, where
So how does
Ivan
Ivan Cleary...
because he'll pick the right players in the right position.
That's right. Okay,
Right? So,
makes sense.
let's say this. I will always say that Dylan Edwards deserves to be there over James Tedesco. Right? Because at the end of the day, 1 minute doesn't define everything else that James Tedesco didn't do that whole game.
I understand that,
Right?
but geez, he was
Was
such a
not
better
that
fullback.
good.
But he's been in better form than Edwards.
But
has.
he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
I think he has.
No, he hasn't, bro. He hasn't.
Teddy's like the best
Dylan
fullback
Edwards
for me.
is the pinnacle of what a fullback needs to be. Tedesco has great moments, but Edwards is the complete package. Edwards is what Tedesco was back in 2019.
No, I think Tedesco was above that.
Nah, I'm telling you right now,
he was
bro.
above that.
You look at the work rate of what Dylan Edwards does, no one comes close to him. No one.
Okay, what's
Ever.
your prediction for
He's the
Origin
fittest
tomorrow?
bloke in the league, let's say that.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
All right, guys, we've got State of Origin game 2 tomorrow. We have got maybe 45 seconds left.
Yep.
What's your prediction for Origin tomorrow?
Queensland 40-12.
I think... New South
We're not
Wales-
winning an Origin series as long as Laurie Daly is the coach. I'm telling you right now.
I believe that New South Wales can win tomorrow.
Queensland 40-12.
We'll win New South Wales by 2 points tomorrow.
Nah.
20...
Don't get me
18.
wrong. I want you to be right.
Yeah, no.
I want you to be right.
20 points
but
to 18.
Yeah, I
If we
just
don't win
see-
tomorrow, if we don't win game 2, we do not win game 3, period.
I could go on a rant about this New South Wales side, but yeah.
Doesn't matter, everybody could. Some of the decisions that he made, I was so surprised by them. Anyway. All right, that's it for the footy talk. Promise you guys. Today's topic,
But, no jokes.
today's topic is about a little bit similar to one of our topics in our last podcast episode, where it was like why intelligent people struggle to lose weight.
Yep.
It's why people above 35 are getting fatter despite being on these ultra low calorie diets.
Stress.
Yeah, let's elaborate, right? We're going to talk about a few
Dun,
points,
dun,
right?
dun.
As we
Stress.
both know, when people, are eating less calories over time, and some of them are eating less calories than they ever have before, joining challenges, they're cutting carbs, they're skipping meals or they're intermittent fasting, whatever you want to call it. But why are obesity rates climbing? This is what the purpose of this episode is.
Yeah.
We're doing everything right on paper, right? They're joining challenges, they're on Ozempic, they're fucking cutting their stomachs, they're taking retatrutide, they're on Monjaro, they're cutting carbs, they're cutting calories, they're intermittent fasting, some are doing full 24-hour, 48-hour fasts. But why are the rates of obesity still getting higher and higher when you look at the stats?
I don't know. Do you put it down to laziness?
I truly believe that the fitness industry has a huge role to play in that. And the reason why I say that is because of the poor information for such a long time being given out by them, right? On top of that, a lot of GPs do not give, actually not a lot, okay, yeah, a lot, do not give the right kind of nutritional guidance to anybody.
They don't give any nutritional guidance.
Some actually do because they've spent time to study it, right? But to talk about this in a bit more detail, to give you a bit more clarity and understanding as to why I'm saying that, I heard a GP talk about what they study when they're in medical school. They don't look at health from a holistic perspective. They don't look at the lifestyle stuff. They don't look at anything or health as being multifaceted, as it's termed. They spend half an hour on nutrition. Half an hour.
Yeah.
They just go over briefly menopause.
Very briefly.
Menopause. They just go over it, right? So and then when they finish their medical degree, because they spent fucking 8 to 10 years, and they got so much money that they got to owe to pay back, a lot of them aren't keen to go and study again.
Yeah.
Right? Just to add on a bit of extra spice on top of their knowledge, right? Or so they feel. So you get people that are trusted, that have got the DR next to their name, right, or the right letters after their name, giving out information that, one, isn't right for the person, but two, they're looking at it from one little window where it's like, how can medication reverse this as fast as possible? And I'll give you a good example. I had a girl call me yesterday, Anthony, I've been diagnosed with PCOS. I spoke to my gynecologist. Okay, cool. Come in, let's have a chat. Right, PCOS, the actual diagnosis of it being called now PCOS is actually wrong. It's changed to a different diagnosis. I can't remember off the top of my head what the diagnosis is, or the name of it, is. But what it's pretty much insinuating, what it's pretty much explaining, is that PCOS is not an ovaries problem. It's not a singular problem now. It's a metabolic systemic problem within the body. And this is what they're understanding, or they've kind of understood, so they've changed the name of it to make sure that the approach they take is better, and it serves the individual better to completely resolve the issue at the root cause, which is, I believe, is the best way to go about it.
100%.
Right? You know what this gynecologist did? Metformin and the pill.
Everything they wanted my wife to go on with the endometriosis.
Metformin and the pill. All right? And I said, no. She goes, what do you mean? My gynecologist told me to do it. I said, no. I said, you do that.
That is the dumbest advice.
But it's a quick fix for the problem.
But it's not even a fix, though.
Look, because they're looking at how you got insulin resistance now, we don't want you to get type 2 diabetes. Your insulin resistance causes your PCOS. We're going to put you on metformin. So your cycle gets back to being regular, and you don't have pain in your period anymore. We're going to give you the pill.
But the thing is that's if. That's a big if, though, as well. Because
I get that. But what I'm trying to get at, you're not wrong. What I'm trying to get at, Alex, is this is the approach that trusted individuals...
That shits me.
It does shit me too, right? Because the long-term damage that occurs.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Somebody very close to me had a thyroid issue, right? Didn't know she had a thyroid issue. Around the time of a period of her life where she was really stressed, really overwhelmed, her period started to get very irregular. So her GP puts her on the pill to get her pill regular. When this person got married, right, and they wanted to start a family, what do they have to do? They had to get off the pill. What came up as to why their weight was fluctuating and why everything was so wrong in their blood test?
Hormones were
everywhere, but Hashimoto's, thyroid condition. All right? You know what she was told to do? Take thyroxide. Okay? What happens then? I don't know, just take that forever. Okay? What happens then? Right? The focus on just get a quick fix now is so wrong, because you're not understanding what actually causes the problem. So what is happening is that Hashimoto's, for example, or the autoimmune disease, is the last point of poor health. It's the last thing that happens to the body. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens before then that all the different systems in the body are affected by, right, and contribute to get you to that point. If you simply work on fixing all these things on a systemic level, the end thing that is caused starts to disappear.
Yeah.
Right? So putting somebody on medication for a quick fix because it's the way that you've been taught in your medical school, right? This is the problem. This is the problem. Okay?
But see, I don't regard that as...
And then they get offended when you ask them a question.
Yeah, but I don't regard that as health. Like...
It's not health.
Essentially, a GP or a doctor is there to guide someone through their health, right? And be that person for them to help them with their health, right? That's what people think doctors are there for. But...
No, sorry. People go to doctors when they're sick.
No, but essentially, if you were to say to someone, why do you go to a doctor for? 9 times out of 10, they'll say for my health, right?
Yeah,
they would, right?
Yeah.
So... we view doctor, or society views a doctor as someone that's there to assist with their health, right, and guide them, you know, through their health and what they experience with their health, right? The moment you're sick, you go to a doctor. The moment you have any health issue, where do you go? A doctor, right? But I don't regard putting someone on medication just cause as health.
It's not. It never should be. It never will be.
Medication isn't
change.
Look, I'm not going to say medication isn't ever the answer.
It has its place. It definitely has its place. But as a first step,
yeah, exactly right. With a lot of issues that we see in this day and age, medication is the last thing that you should do, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of chronic illnesses stem from your lifestyle, chronic inflammation. All of these things that lead to you getting some sort of chronic illness, right?
It's true.
And like you said,
the research supports it as well.
And when you pull it all back and you really look at the root cause issue, 9 times out of 10, there's some form of chronic inflammation within that person's body that has then evolved over the months or years and then come out as some form of illness or autoimmune disease, right?
Exactly right, 100%. And so going back to what we're talking about, when we look at these kinds of things, the advice given is quite poor, right? So the approach, it's understandable why the approach is actually not the right one as well. So what most people need to understand and what most people need to think about is if rates of obesity, for example, are getting higher and higher, why? What needs to change? It's got to be the advice, and it's got to be where it's coming from, right? Because that's having the biggest impact on people.
I feel like there's a few...
I just read something earlier today about the TGA cracking down on peptides. But they won't crack down on cigarettes. They won't crack down on alcohol. They won't crack down on drugs. They won't crack down on the things that are actually causing the problems, right?
Processed foods.
Exactly.
Heavily processed foods.
GMOs. Like, don't tell me there's none in this country. There's plenty in this country, right? When it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm like, you're focusing your time and energy on the wrong things. It's not about trying to help people. It's about trying to control. Yeah. That's what the TGA wants, right? And don't forget, the TGA has its own lobbyists, and they're funded by people that ultimately want to have the control that they want to have. Yep. So when the FDA system, when people say to me the FDA didn't approve these peptides, but the FDA approves your alcohol, your cigarettes, how can you be okay with what the FDA approves or what the TGA approves when they're approving things that have been shown by the stats to be the largest killers, in particular tobacco?
The FDA hasn't approved half the drinks that people buy from the service station.
The FDA hasn't approved any of our supplements. Haven't approved creatine, haven't approved magnesium, vitamin D, fish oil, but they're known to cure health. They're known to help with improving health, right? Creatine is the most studied supplement of all time, and there's gone under so much scrutiny, and it's also shown so many great benefits to anybody at any age, no matter whether you're male or female.
Especially with their cognitive function.
But the FDA hasn't approved it, right? So do you follow what the FDA or the TGA approves, or do you actually follow what, like a functional doctor approves?
Well, let's
or what somebody who's actually got a good track record.
I'm going to throw this example out there. I'm going to throw this example out there, and I know this is going to frustrate the fuck out of you, right? And that's why I'm going to say it, because I want to see you fire up. I know of someone that they have high cholesterol, right? And their doctor wants them to get back on cholesterol medication. And they said, no, I don't want to get back on cholesterol medication, especially because of all the research that's come out that cholesterol medication leads to dementia,
there's a big correlation
Alzheimer's,
that
right?
Dementia, yeah.
And the doctor's response to them was?
What?
You'd much rather get dementia than have a stroke or heart attack from high cholesterol.
Okay, let me just kind of, and I pray that
bro, that is the dumbest answer I've ever heard from a doctor.
Do you want to know why it's the dumbest answer? Because there's no proof linking that. The problem with cholesterol, why people fear cholesterol, is, and if you really delve deep into the rabbit holes that I've delved into, you understand that a cholesterol rating at 300 is actually fine. Who brought the number down to 190? Who brought the number down to 190? The big pharma companies that say the cholesterol tablets.
The government, pretty much.
Right? The big pharma companies push for it to be brought down to 190. Why? So they can sell you.
So they can medicate
They can make the statins so that you can buy it. They can make their billions, right? There is no correlation. No correlation, right? No matter where you look at, right? And also, just before I continue, when you look at who writes the studies and who funds the studies, right? Most people don't look at those things.
Big pharma.
Be careful about what studies you're reading, because you've got to look at who's funding them.
Yep. They're not independent studies.
The same person that spoke about all the different things that, all the injections that you give kids fix and help and prevent, is the same person that got given a whole bunch of money that got shown for committing fraud with it, and didn't use any of the money to actually complete the research papers. But we're going off research that he supposedly did, right, to give the stats so that you have to medicate your kids and inject your kids with all these things when they're born or by certain ages, and you're a bad parent if you don't. Do you understand? But people don't look into this stuff enough. I do, though, right? So the whole premise on cholesterol is a hormone. We need cholesterol. Do you know what happens when we have clogged arteries, or when we have arteries that are starting to deteriorate because of chronic inflammation? That's what causes a heart attack. That's what causes a stroke.
And I said to him,
it is not cholesterol. So get this part of the video, go to that GP if you can, show it to him, right? And I'll link him the actual research papers, and we'll see whether he turns around and says that again.
Yeah.
And the fact that he'll say you'd rather get dementia than a stroke or a heart attack shows me that he's not even willing to look into the research and make sure that what he's giving in terms of advice is the right thing. And we trust people like that.
100%. And my thing to them was, I want you to go back to your doctor and ask them, do you know what the brain is heavily made up of? And I want to see what their response is. And if the response does not include the word cholesterol, then don't ever see that doctor ever again.
It's true. And that's the sad part, right? So going back to, again, the why society is the way that it is, comes back to the information that we get it from, but from the place that are supposed to be the trusted sources. So it's unfortunate, but this is what people like you and I are around, and a lot of people in our industry are around, with giving really good advice that breaks away from the stuff that has caused so many problems for so many people's health over the years.
Well, let's talk about a controversial topic, COVID, right? And obviously how Bill Gates at the moment now, and there's someone else that he's partnered with, they're getting sued like mofos at the moment, right? And they're in the Supreme Court, and they got forced to hand over all the studies that they apparently did as to how...
This is in the Netherlands. This isn't here. This is in the Netherlands.
Yeah. How...
I showed you that.
No, there was a video I watched yesterday.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is from one of the female I'm going to call her solicitors or judges or whoever she is. That is going through all the evidence and whatnot, and that is refuting all of Bill Gates' claims and whatnot.
The problem with Bill Gates is he made a lot of claims, right, publicly, okay, based off the understanding that he was never going to get followed up for these claims because of how much money he gave governments to shut their mouths.
So listen to this, right? So all these studies that they supposedly did about how beneficial the vaccines were, they were forced to hand over all the papers, right? And I'm talking these thick binded books. Yeah. And she opened all of them and she dropped them in front of everyone. And she goes, so we're looking at this study, and when we went through it, there's a cover page, and then when you look at every other page, it's blank. Where's the study? So you're telling me the study doesn't exist? So what research do you actually have to show when the research that you've handed over to us that you claim is all the experiments and the research and the studies that you guys underwent to show that these vaccines are good, they're all blank pieces of papers. You're lying to us. That's fraud. And so I sit there and I'm like, so when are people actually going to understand that, unfortunately, and it's very unfortunate, but unfortunately, there's a large chunk of Western medicine, or there's a large chunk of these big pharma companies, and there's a large chunk of these people in high places that do not give two fucks about you and actually want to kill you.
I shared some, not actually want to kill you, they just focus
they
just focus more.
I'm going to go conspiracy. No, they actually want to kill you. Ben knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Because me and Ben know this shit. They actually want to kill you.
Look, I don't want to get that,
that too much. Clip it. Share it around. No jokes.
Point of what you're saying isn't necessarily wrong. However, what I want to highlight as well is that I can agree with a lot of what you're saying, because I've read and I've heard from big farmers at the time when they said this, they were the CEO of the company, publicly saying, we are not interested in health. We are interested in making our shareholders money. So when I speak about profits over people, this is specifically what I'm talking about. So gone are the days, in my opinion, actually no, I shouldn't say that. Gone were the days, in my opinion, where we sat there and kept our mouths shut and just followed the rules like little good little pets. Now we're starting to question. The reason why we're starting to question is because doctors like Barbara, I can't remember her surname, who's banned from this country, right, for what she's publicly said about how poor the health system advice is, right?
Barbara O'Neill.
That's it. She's come out and said all these things, and she has been able to save countless lives with natural remedies.
She's a machine.
Right? And she backs everything up by science.
Yep.
And one of the posts that I've read, I've come across lately from multiple sources, was her quote in the Bible about why she recommends herbs with some treatments, and herbs to help with hormones, and herbs to help with immune health. And she said in the book of Psalms, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's in the book of Psalms. It says God gave God gave man herbs to use for their health or for their lives or something like that. Everything that we need has always been from the land. But companies, governments, big pharma have put profits over people. So now you get obesity rates through the roof. Going back to our topic, why are obesity rates through the roof when we're doing everything right on paper? It's because we've gone away from the way that we're designed to actually work and be and live.
So I want to also...
So you got processed food that we eat a lot of.
Yeah.
Right? You have a farmed salmon that's been dyed with color, drenched in chlorine. Same thing with chicken. Then a whole bunch of stuff in terms of chemicals, and then we're expected to eat it and be okay with it. And you wonder why health is getting worse and worse and worse. Right? It's because the actual nutritional value in the food we're consuming is so poor. It's so poor. Nobody gets any omega-3 anymore.
Yeah.
Right? As an example. And I talk about this a lot. That's why I love Zinzino. Nobody gets any more omega-3 anymore. And there's a large correlation between omega-3 deficiency and chronic inflammation. There's a large correlation between omega-6 dominating compared to omega-3 in the body, and a large amount of chronic inflammation that comes from that. And there's a large correlation between chronic inflammation and stroke and heart attack.
As well as suicide.
So
depression, anxiety.
A lot of different people need to understand this, that what we get from our food is not what it was like 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. I read in a book when I was doing studies about 7, 8 years ago, and this was at the time, it's probably worse now. One tomato, at the time when I read this book, this is in 2019, one tomato 20 years ago, so from 2019, 20 years ago, so 1999, one tomato in 1999, the nutritional value in that one tomato, if you were to get the same nutritional value in 2019, you would have had to have 8 tomatoes.
Jeez, that's terrible.
And that's a research-backed thing.
That's terrible.
Right? It's probably like 30 tomatoes now compared to back in 1999.
Brother, they just don't eat a tomato.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? And we focus so much on don't touch nightshades. Like, bro, just get nutrition where you can, as often as you can, from the right sources. Because the way we're going right now, we're going to be living off pillboxes to get our nutritional value that we need, because the food that we have is not good anymore. You look at grass-fed meat, right? The nerve of Channel 7, the nerve of Channel 9, the nerve of some of these doctors and GPs and scientists that turn around and say meat gives you cancer and it stops everybody from eating red meat, or eggs are the worst thing for cholesterol. Everybody stops eating eggs, right? But they'll have Wheat Bix and Nutri-Grain and all this crap for breakfast, which is full of sugar, and sugar's got a higher link to heart attacks than cholesterol does, mind you.
Yeah.
All right, and it causes a whole bunch of just poor nutritional value coming into the body because all that stuff's processed, right? You're telling me that I need to shut up?
But that's the thing.
That my advice is wrong.
This is where, I would look at it from and this is where I get so fucking frustrated with people, because people, for some reason, in this day and age, have thrown their logic into the fucking bin.
You know what it is, Alex? Right? You know what it is?
No, hold on. If you hear on the news specifically, and it's funny that they specify red meat and eggs, right? Wouldn't you question that just for a second? Why just red meat and eggs? Because then if you were to actually look up what amino profile red meat and eggs have, they're the only two food products, right, or food choices in the world that have a complete amino profile that the body needs on a daily basis. So it's funny that they specifically just say those two things, but then they also use the studies that they've done on processed red meat, things like cold meats, things like burger patties, stuff like that,
ham, mortadella, salami,
and they use those studies and say, oh, red meat. Exactly. It's like, bro.
No, but you know what the problem is? People will look at those studies, read it, listen to it for what it is. Because they're so busy and caught up and preoccupied, they won't look into it.
So
but you meet someone like me that will make time to go and look at that shit properly.
But this goes to my next point, right? What you just said. They're so busy and preoccupied and blah, blah. I get it. But when the fuck did it not become an important priority to say, you know what? all these things that I'm busy with and whatnot are possible because of my health. So I'm going to actually question, or I'm going to just spend, bro, 5 fucking minutes just to look up or read or listen or something, just a little bit more, just so I know what's going on.
You know what the average commute to work is? The average commute to work for most people is between 30 to 45 minutes. Great podcasts you can listen to on health. Great YouTube videos you can listen to on health at around that amount of time, right? But people rather listen to music. Listen to a podcast. Learn. Find ways to educate yourself in the time that you have, right? Because if you're a parent, right, which is the majority of the clients that we train, and you want to do all the stuff that you need to do for your family, all the stuff you need to do for your work, when are you going to get time? When you're on the train to work, or when you're driving to work, or when you're on the way to the gym, or when you're driving home from the gym,
time.
or when you're in the sauna, I put my pods in, I listen to something. You always find the time. When
You
I'm
just find
training,
time.
right? I train by myself, but I will listen to a YouTube video.
Same here. I've
right,
taken
while
your
I'm
advice
training.
and I've started doing it.
It just helps because it's time that I can't get back, so I might as well use the time as best as I can. But to get back to what we're talking about,
But that's what I mean in terms of the increase in obesity.
yeah, it's because people are
fucking lazy.
Yes, they're
I'll say it
lazy.
for what
Yeah,
it is.
they are
I'll say it
lazy.
for what it is, right?
Look,
we all got shit going on, right? Some more than others.
the other problem with people as well is they don't want to have
The average human being is a fucking excuse maker,
the average human being, of course.
right? And
Yeah,
that's what it
100%.
comes down to.
100%.
Because we all have legs and arms. We all got a brain. We all got oxygen in our lungs.
It's your mindset.
If you
bro.
want
It's
to
the
do
mindset,
something,
yeah.
but so then my question is and I'm gonna talk specifically about men because I can't talk about women, but when the fuck did these men in this day and age become so disconnected with themselves that they feel like that being a fat fuck and being lazy and making excuses was more important than actually taking it upon yourself to become healthier, to become smarter, to become more educated. Like, you're telling me that you're that lazy, right? And don't say, oh, but I've got so much going on in my life. Brother, I know people that have you wouldn't even want to know the shit that they're going through, and yet they still make time. And if they were to get their bloods done, they'd be some of the healthiest people you'd know.
The reason why that is the case, Alex, I believe, and this is where you got to be very careful, because the objective that you and I have is to help these people. We don't shy away from the truth, but the goal is to always help these people, right? So the approach that we take is, yeah, okay, we can understand that life got the better of you, and sometimes stuff happens and you can't help it. I've been there. I'm very vocal about my health journey, right? But when you need to start understanding, I should say, that it's time to change, you need to actually really commit to that change. And the change is very simple. It's a matter of not overcomplicating it, right? Not trying to find a quick fix, not getting frustrated when there's not one black and white answer for everybody to do, and so therefore what worked for Karen down the road is going to work for me, or what worked for Alex is going to work for me. Understand that you're going to have your own way of doing stuff because you are a unique person, and there needs to be consistency. But even all before then, it's the mindset, right? Your mindset will dictate everything about your actions and dictate everything about what you end up achieving.
Yeah, and it's sad.
So-
It's sad to see some people have very weak mindsets.
100%. But the weak mindset comes back to their value that they hold on themselves. Do you understand? So if somebody doesn't put much value on themselves, they couldn't care about whether their health is good or not. I had a guy say to me, I said, man, don't you want to leave a legacy behind you? I said to him, don't you want to, know that you've done everything you can to look after your family, look after your daughter, look after your wife, build a legacy for them to after you go. He goes, what do I care? I'll be dead. And I just thought to myself,
Yeah, see, I can't cop that.
I just thought to myself, this guy is really...
I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit
mentally-
heartless, but I just can't cop that.
It's not that you're heartless. It's because your priorities are different. Because I looked at him, I was just like...
Because in those same people,
But you just
though...
literally threw everything I told you into the bin because in your head, you're not good enough.
But then those same people will envy others that are doing well.
You know why they envy? Because they act like they feel like it's not fair.
But,
right? No,
like-
it's not. Doesn't make it justified. I'm
No,
showing
it
you the
doesn't
reason.
make sense.
Right? This is why when people turn around and say to me, how come he's earning X amount of money or she's earning X amount of money, and they act like it's not fair, I'm like, well, but do you think that person cares that it's not fair, or they're just getting done the hard work that they need to do? Like, no one cares about whether you think it's fair or not. The hard work needs to happen, and so they're down to do the hard work, and they're consistent with the hard work. How does one of the guys I'm listening to at the moment, what justifies him, and what makes it fair for him to charge $100,000 for 2 hours of his time? That's what he's worth. People say to value him, people pay it.
100 grand for 2 hours of your time? What a hard cunt.
But do you see what I'm trying to say?
Sorry for the language, but wow.
People see the value and people pay. You know why though? Because for the guy's in his 60s, from the last maybe 30 plus years, he's been dropping free value on his YouTube channels since he was in his mid-20s, I reckon. Free value, like hour-long videos, presentations that if you listen to it and you implement 5% of what he tells you to do, you will change your life. So when somebody wants 2 hours of his time, okay, 100 grand, they pay it. But you know what he's doing? He's shuffled through all the people that don't actually want to make change, and has gotten that 1 or 2% of the population that actually wants to make change, and I'm talking big change, and they're able to pay him for his time because he's going to get them to that next level.
Yeah.
Because that's his skill set. But the purpose of what I'm trying to get at is this guy had $200 worth of rent at the time a week. He was only making $300 a week. Now the guy is earning hundreds of millions of dollars, doing multiple different things, right? But predominantly helping business owners. How do you go from $300 a week as a cleaner, right? Like a garbage cleaner, like the council garbage cleaner, $300 a week, right? Married, kid on the way, to multi-million-dollar business owner. How? Your mindset first, before your skill set, before your earning. So these individuals that are obese, it's a mindset thing. And until they do that work on themselves and understanding that, yes, I've made mistakes. Yes, I've messed up. Yes, my health is as bad as it ever has been, but I can actually change. Until you get to that point, you're going to be a stat.
Yeah, man, because that's the thing. Like, I'll emphasize. Is that the word?
Emphasize what though?
No, how do you like?
Empathize.
Empathize, that's the word. What a dickhead. I will empathize with people, but to a certain extent, because essentially you have to take accountability for your actions, for your life, right? And if you're not going to, then in my eyes, you do not deserve to complain.
100%.
You don't, right? Because you're not doing anything about it. Like you said, you're not willing to make the change. If you're going to do the exact same things over and over again every single weekend, but then complain, you are not deserving of sympathy at all, right?
Very true.
What's that definition that they use for a psychopath? What is it? Or
insanity. They're doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Like, brother, you're insane.
It's true. So yeah, look, that's kind of, a lot of what we spoke about today is a big reason why we feel like those people that we look after, but it was not so much the ones that we look after. They're very unique, but and they're a lot better than the stats of the population. But the wider population, obesity levels are increasing no matter how much extra knowledge and education there is. And I think what we spoke about is a big reason why.
And look, to finish it off as well, like at the end of the day, man, we live in a world in this day and age where education is pretty much free now. All you got to do is just jump on Google.
No one's
And
bothered. No one's
like
bothered.
there's so much education
That's
on
the problem,
Google,
bro. Nobody is bothered.
and it's just like, when are you gonna get bothered though? When your daughter or your son are sitting there watching you in a hospital bed and you can't breathe on your own, like when are you gonna get bothered?
It's
And
quite upsetting. It's
People
really,
go,
really,
it's not
really
that
upsetting.
deep. No, it is that deep because things can change overnight. Like we've seen it with relatives of ours. You know what I mean? Specifically, one in particular that's going through something at the moment. We've seen it change overnight.
Yeah.
They wake up one day, they're all sweet. They wake up the next day and fuck, their whole world's changed, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Because look at our grandfather, our grandfather Tony. Friday night, I'll see you tomorrow. Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, heart attack, gone. Right? It can change in an instant.
Literally.
And that's a lot of it is our own health that we don't look after. Anyway, team, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Don't forget, like and subscribe to us, on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you.
Thank you.